Imagine waking up tomorrow morning to a text message that changes everything. Your boss calls an emergency team meeting at 8 a.m., and by 8:15 a.m., your access to the company servers is revoked. Your corporate card is canceled, and you are handed a severance package that barely covers 2 weeks of expenses. Or imagine waking up to a loud, metallic, grinding sound under the hood of your car on the way to the most important presentation of your quarter, only for the mechanic to tell you that the transmission is completely shot and it will cost $3,800 just to get the vehicle back on the road. Or picture a sudden medical bill landing in your inbox after a routine procedure that your insurance company unexpectedly declined to cover. In every single one of these scenarios, your brain immediately enters a state of high alert survival mode. Your heart rate spikes, your blood pressure surges, and a cold wave of adrenaline hits your stomach. But here's the critical difference between the vast majority of people and a select few. For most people, an event like this represents an absolute life catastrophe. It triggers a cascading spiral of missed rent payments, maxed out credit cards with 29% interest rates, late fees, borrowed money from family, sleepless nights, and months or even years of financial anxiety. But for someone with a properly structured, fully funded 6-month emergency fund, that exact same event, the layoff, the transmission failure, the unexpected medical bill, is not a crisis at all. It is nothing more than an annoying, temporary inconvenience. It is a minor bump in the road that gets paid off with a single bank transfer, without changing their lifestyle, without taking on a single penny of debt, and without losing a single hour of sleep. Right now, in 2026, 63% of households are living paycheck to paycheck despite having access to more digital budgeting apps, high-tech fintech tools, automated tracking software, and personal finance content than at any other point in human history. Think about that statistic for a moment. More than 6 out of every 10 people you pass on the street, sit next to at work, or see at the grocery store are living exactly one missed paycheck away from total financial insolvency. And the most shocking part of this reality is that the vast majority of these households are not earning sub-poverty wages, nor are they recklessly spending thousands of dollars every month on lavish champagne parties or luxury sports cars. Many of them are earning decent middle-class or even upper-middle-class incomes. Yet, despite tracking every transaction on their smartphones, they feel perpetually trapped, constantly exhausted, and completely unable to build a meaningful cash reserve. Why does this happen? Why is traditional personal finance advice failing so many people in today's economy? The fundamental problem lies in the overwhelming, psychologically toxic way savings advice is usually delivered. For decades, traditional financial advisors and mainstream gurus have repeated the same rigid, unfeeling advice. You must save 3 to 6 months of expenses immediately. But when you take out a calculator and multiply your actual real-world monthly bills by 6, the resulting number feels staggering. If your baseline household expenses are $4,000 a month, 6 months of expenses equals $24,000. If your expenses are $5,000 a month, that target jumps to $30,000. When a household living paycheck to paycheck with $400 in their checking account is told that they need to amass $30,000 in liquid cash just to be considered financially responsible, their brain does something very predictable. It shuts down. The distance between where they are today and that giant, intimidating $30,000 peak feels so vast, so completely impossible that it triggers psychological paralysis. The target feels so far away that trying to save $50 or $100 from this week's paycheck feels utterly pointless, like trying to drain an entire ocean with a plastic spoon. So instead of starting, people give up before they even begin. They fall into the mindset of, I'll start saving when I make more money, or I'll worry about it next year, while continuing to live on the dangerous edge of zero savings. This dynamic creates what behavioral economists call the anxiety gap. The anxiety gap is the psychological space created when you carry high-interest debt or zero savings while trying to navigate a high-cost economy. When you carry zero cash reserves, every single financial transaction carries an underlying layer of subtle panic. You swipe your debit card at the grocery store and hold your breath for 2 seconds, praying it doesn't get declined. You hear a strange noise in your apartment or car and desperately hope it ignores itself away because you know you cannot afford the fix. This constant ambient stress drains your mental bandwidth, leaving you with less energy to make smart long-term decisions, pursue career growth, or focus on wealth creation. Every dollar you earn next month is already pre-allocated to pay for expenses, debts, and interest charges from last month. You aren't moving forward, you're running on an accelerating treadmill just to stay in the exact same place. To break out of this trap, we have to completely throw away the old, rigid framework of saving and replace it with a system designed around human psychology rather than cold, abstract math. That system is the staircase method. The staircase method works by taking that giant, terrifying $30,000 mountain and breaking it down into a series of small, highly manageable, bite-sized plateaus. Instead of treating an emergency fund like an all-or-nothing milestone, where you either have 6 months saved or you have failed, the staircase method turns financial security into a progressive video game. Every single step on the staircase represents a concrete, highly specific level of psychological relief and financial protection. Every step you climb gives you an immediate win, permanently lowers your baseline stress levels, rebuilds your confidence, and creates natural behavioral momentum that pulls you toward the next level. You do not try to jump to the top floor in a single leap. You simply focus on placing your foot firmly on the very next step in front of you. The very first step of the staircase method begins at the base level, establishing a strict $1,000 starter buffer. This is your immediate shock absorber. It is not designed to fund a long illness or carry you through a 6-month job loss. Its sole purpose is to act as a financial shield between your daily life and minor, high-frequency emergencies. In today's modern economy, small unexpected expenses have inflated dramatically. A decade ago, a minor emergency might have been $150 replacement part or a $200 utility spike. In 2026, micro-crises are significantly more expensive. A cracked smartphone screen or battery replacement easily costs $250 to $450 without warning. A sudden spike in local public transit tariffs or municipal toll hikes can add $100 to $200 to your monthly commute without warning. A routine diagnostic scan at an urgent care clinic, an urgent veterinary prescription for a family pet, or urgent plumbing repair can effortlessly wipe out $500 to $800 in a single afternoon. Without a dedicated $1,000 starter buffer sitting between you and the world, every single one of these routine economic bumps forces you to rely on credit cards, high-interest buy now, pay later loans, or overdraft facilities. When you pay for a $500 car repair on a credit card, charging 24% annual interest, and only make the minimum monthly payments, that $500 repair ultimately costs you over $800 and takes years to clear. The $1,000 starter fund completely stops this toxic cycle in its tracks. The moment a minor emergency happens, you don't touch a credit card. You pay for it in cash directly from your starter buffer, absorb the shock completely, and then focus on refilling that buffer back to $1,000 before moving onward. Building this initial $1,000 starter buffer as fast as possible requires speed and focused execution, not years of miserable extreme frugality. You want to hit this target in 30 to 60 days to prove to yourself that you are capable of accumulating cash. The absolute fastest way to unlock immediate cash flow for step 1 is by conducting a ruthless 12-month recurring subscription and expand on it. Over the past few years, the subscription business model has expanded into virtually every corner of the consumer economy. Beyond traditional entertainment platforms like Netflix, Spotify, or gaming services, companies now charge monthly recurring fees for everything from cloud storage and app features to fitness memberships, meal kit deliveries, software tools, and retail delivery passes. Worse still, almost all of these services engage in silent price creep, quietly raising their monthly charges by $2, $5, or $10 every year without requiring active reauthorization from you. To execute a rapid save audit, log into your online banking portal or pull up your physical statements from the last 90 days. Filter every transaction into a single list and highlight every single recurring charge, auto-pay deduction, or monthly membership fee. You will almost certainly find forgotten trials that converted into paid plans, duplicate services, or memberships you haven't used in months. More importantly, look at the services you do use and challenge their current tier. Can you downgrade a premium 4K streaming package to a standard plan? Can you switch from an individual cloud plan to a shared family account? Can you pause a gym membership for 60 days while you work out outdoors or at home? By aggressively canceling, downgrading, or renegotiating these recurring leaks, the average household instantly reclaims between $150 and $350 per month in pure, unallocated cash flow. Combined with selling unused items around your house or taking on a few temporary hours of freelance work or gig driving over a couple of weekends, that initial $1,000 buffer moves from a distant idea into a concrete reality sitting inside your bank account in a matter of weeks. Once your $1,000 starter buffer is fully locked in place, you're ready to climb to the mid-tier stability plateau, scaling your savings to cover exactly 1 month of essential survival expenses. This step requires a fundamental shift in how you evaluate your household finances. Up to this point, you have been thinking in terms of flat dollar amounts, $500 here, $1,000 there. Step 2 requires you to calculate your personalized baseline survival number. Your baseline survival number is not the total amount of money you spend in a typical, comfortable month where you eat at restaurants, buy new clothes, go to the movies, and order food delivery. Your baseline survival number is the absolute bare minimum cash required to keep a roof over your head, the lights on, food in your stomach, and your essential legal and health obligations met for 30 consecutive days if all incoming revenue instantly dropped to zero. To calculate your true baseline survival height, draw a hard line between core survival needs and lifestyle comfort spend. Core survival expenses consist of strictly non-negotiable items. First, core housing costs, your actual rent payment or mortgage obligation, including mandatory property taxes and insurance. Second, essential utilities, electricity, water, heating gas, and a basic home internet or mobile phone plan necessary to apply for jobs or maintain basic communications. Third, basic grocery spending, nutritious, unprocessed food prepared entirely at home, completely excluding alcohol, takeout, restaurants, or premium convenience items. Fourth, essential transportation, the base fuel, public transit fare, or minimum auto insurance and loan payment required to get to work or look for new employment. Fifth, critical medical care and minimum debt payments, your required insurance premiums, necessary prescriptions, and the minimum contractual obligations on any outstanding loans to prevent default and protect your credit score. Everything else, dining out, entertainment subscriptions, hobby expenses, salon visits, boutique fitness classes, luxury purchases, and travel savings, is entirely stripped out of this calculation. For most households, discovering their actual baseline survival number is an eye-opening exercise. A family that typically spends $6,000 a month on their total lifestyle often discovers that their true bare-bones survival number is actually only $3,200 or $3,500. This realization instantly lowers the psychological mountain you have to climb. Reaching a 1-month survival fund of $3,200 feels dramatically more achievable than trying to shoot blindly for a vague $20,000 target. When you complete Step 2 and hold 1 full month of baseline survival expenses in reserve, your relationship with work and life changes dramatically. The psychological weight of living on the edge completely evaporates. You know with absolute mathematical certainty that if your employer closes its doors or your main client cancels their contract tomorrow morning, you have 30 full days of total shelter, safety, and security. You do not have to panic, take out desperation loans, or make knee-jerk decisions out of fear. You have bought yourself a month of clear-headed operational time. As you build and hold this 1-month plateau, where you store this money becomes critical. Leaving your growing emergency fund in your everyday checking account is a massive strategic mistake. When emergency savings sit mixed in with your daily operational funds, two things inevitably happen. First, you experience the psychological illusion of excess cash. When you open your banking app to check your balance before buying an expensive item, seeing a $4,000 total tricks your brain into thinking you are wealthy and can afford the splurge, gradually eroding your safety buffer. Second, standard checking accounts pay virtually zero interest. In an inflationary environment where consumer prices rise year after year, cash sitting in a standard account earning 0.01% interest actively loses purchasing power every single month. To protect your fund, you must transition your cash into a high-yield liquid asset account, typically a high-yield savings account, HYSA, or a liquid money market account hosted at a separate, secure financial institution, completely decoupled from your primary daily checking account. By keeping your emergency fund at a separate bank, you introduce intentional behavioral friction. The money remains 100% liquid and safe, meaning you can transfer it back to your primary account within 24 to 48 hours if a genuine emergency strikes, but it is completely out of sight and out of mind for day-to-day impulse spending. Furthermore, high-yield liquid accounts pay competitive interest rates, often 4 to 5% or more, depending on prevailing central bank rates, allowing your cash to compound automatically and actively defend itself against inflation without taking on any market risk whatsoever. With Step 1, $1,000 buffer, and Step 2, 1 month of survival expenses fully conquered, you enter the powerful mid-game of the staircase method, reaching the 3-month milestone and pushing all the way to the 6-month summit. Crossing from 1 month to 3 months of savings is where behavioral compounding momentum really takes over. In physics, momentum dictates that moving an object from a complete standstill requires immense initial force, but once the object is rolling, keeping it moving requires significantly less energy. Finance works the exact same way. Climbing from zero to your first $1,000 requires tremendous discipline, sacrifice, and focus. But by the time you reach Step 3, you have already built the habits, eliminated the subscription waste, and established the lean cash flow required to accumulate wealth. To scale from a 1-month buffer to a full 3-month and ultimately 6-month fortress without burning out, you must completely remove human willpower from the equation. Relying on manual decision-making, waking up every payday, looking at your remaining balance, and deciding how much you feel like saving just this once is a guaranteed strategy for long-term failure. Life will always throw temptations, social events, and spur-of-the-moment purchases in your path to convince you to skip saving just this once. The solution is total automation using modern banking architecture and AI financial management tools. To automate your staircase progression, set up an automatic split deposit system directly through your employer's payroll portal or create automated reoccurring transfers through your bank. The moment your paycheck drops into your account on payday morning, before you pay a single bill, before you buy groceries, and before you see the money in your daily checking balance, an automated rule instantly routes a predetermined percentage, such as 10%, 15%, or 20%, directly into your off-site high-yield emergency account. This is the classic financial principle of paying yourself first, executed with digital precision. Because you never see the money sitting in your daily checking balance, your brain naturally adapts to living on the remaining amount without feeling deprived or restricted. In addition to automated fixed transfers, take advantage of modern 2026 AI-driven banking features and automated roundup algorithms. Many modern financial institutions now feature intelligent cash flow analysis algorithms built directly into their platforms.
These tools analyze your historical income patterns, track your upcoming scheduled bill payments, and automatically detect small pockets of variable, excess cash throughout the week. The AI then automatically sweeps micro deposits, $8 on Tuesday, $14 on Thursday, $22 on Saturday, out of your checking account and into your high-yield emergency fund, in the background, completely ensuring your account never dips into the red or triggers fees. These micro sweeps, combined with automated payroll splits, turn your savings process into a background computer script that quietly builds your wealth while you sleep, work, and live. While automation provides the steady, uninterrupted climbing force up the staircase, you can dramatically accelerate your journey to the 6-month summit by strategically deploying financial windfalls. A windfall is any sudden, non-standard influx of cash that lands outside your regular paycheck, such as an annual work performance bonus, a tax refund, an inheritance, a legal settlement, a cash gift, or a sudden payout from a successful side project or freelance gig. Most people treat windfalls as free money and immediately spend 100% of the funds on lifestyle upgrades, expensive vacations, new electronics, or luxury cars, instantly resetting their financial progress. Conversely, extreme frugality advocates preach that you must put 100% of every windfall directly into savings, which often creates psychological resentment and causes people to break their budgets entirely. The balanced, sustainable framework for handling windfalls is the 50-50 rule. Whenever a financial windfall hits your bank account, immediately divide the net post-tax cash strictly in half. Take exactly 50% of the windfall and deposit it directly into your high-yield emergency fund staircase. This allows you to leapfrog up multiple steps at once, instantly jumping from 2 months of saved expenses to 4 months in a single afternoon. Take the remaining 50% of the windfall and allocate it entirely to guilt-free spending or personal enjoyment. Buy the upgraded tech, book the weekend trip, or dine at the restaurant you've been eyeing. By utilizing the 50-50 rule, you eliminate psychological friction. Your brain gets the immediate reward and gratification of enjoying the fruits of your labor today, while your financial foundation receives a massive structural boost that permanently pulls you closer to the 6-month summit. When you finally cross the finish line and hold 6 full months of baseline survival expenses in your high-yield liquid account, you have officially built a complete financial fortress. But building the fortress is only half the battle. The second half is establishing clear, unshakable rules of engagement to protect that fortress from being quietly depleted over time. An emergency fund is a specialized financial tool with one purpose: protection against catastrophic risk. It is not an investment account. It is not a slush fund for entertainment, and it is not a secondary checking account for opportunistic buying. However, as your emergency fund grows into a substantial sum, $15,000, $25,000, or $35,000, the psychological temptation to tap into it for non-emergencies increases dramatically. You will catch yourself thinking, I have $25,000 sitting right there. Taking out $2,000 for a luxury vacation or a home theater upgrade won't really hurt. To prevent this silent depletion, you must enforce the 3-question emergency test. Before a single dollar is ever withdrawn from your 6-month fund, the expense must pass all 3 of the following criteria with a definitive yes. Question 1. Is it completely unexpected? An event is unexpected if it could not have been reasonably predicted or scheduled in advance. A sudden engine failure, a job loss, or a burst water pipe is unexpected. Annual car insurance premiums, holiday gift shopping, routine maintenance, scheduled property taxes, and predictable school tuition fees are not unexpected. They are known, recurring life expenses that must be planned for within your normal monthly budget or sink fund categories. Question 2. Is it absolutely necessary? An expense is necessary if failing to pay it results in severe personal, physical, or financial harm.
Medical care, repairing your primary vehicle needed to drive to work, or keeping your heating running in freezing winter weather are absolute necessities. Upgrading to the newest phone model because your current screen has a minor scratch, buying a new wardrobe for a conference, or booking last-minute flights to attend a social event are luxuries, not necessities. Question 3. Is it genuinely urgent? An expense is urgent if it demands immediate resolution to stop ongoing damage, penalties, or distress. Fixing a leaking roof before it destroys your ceiling is urgent. Reflooring your living room because you dislike the carpet color is not urgent. It can wait months or years until you save dedicated cash for home improvements. If an expense fails even one of these 3 tests, the vault remains completely locked. The money stays untouched in your high-yield account, preserving your 6-month fortress intact. Now, what happens once your 6-month emergency fund is fully fortified, locked, and completely protected? The answer surprises many people. You stop saving cash entirely. One of the biggest mistakes people make in personal finance is accumulating far too much liquid cash out of lingering fear or habit. An emergency fund is an insurance policy designed to provide liquidity and safety. It is not an investment account. It is not a slush fund for entertainment, and it is not a secondary checking account for opportunistic buying. Cash protects your present. Investments build your future. The moment your 6-month emergency fund reaches its final target height, you take the automatic transfers and split deposits that were previously funding your staircase and pivot 100% of that excess cash flow directly into wealth-building investment assets. Instead of routing $500 or $1,000 every month into your savings account, that money now flows seamlessly into diversified broad market index funds, total stock market ETFs, tax-advantaged retirement accounts like Roth IRAs or 401ks, real estate investments, or low-cost wealth portfolios. Because your baseline survival is now completely guaranteed by 6 full months of cash reserves, you can invest aggressively for long-term growth with supreme emotional confidence. You no longer panic during stock market downturns or economic volatility because you know you will never be forced to sell your investments at a loss just to pay for next month's groceries or rent. Your emergency fund acts as an impenetrable wall that shields your long-term wealth, allowing your wealth to compound undisturbed for decades. Ultimately, the true value of climbing the simple staircase method and securing a full 6-month emergency fund goes far beyond calculations, interest yields, bank balances, or inflation hedges. The ultimate payout of financial security is total psychological freedom. When you have zero savings, you are fundamentally trapped. You are forced to endure toxic work environments, abusive bosses, unfair compensation, micromanaging clients, or unfulfilling life situations simply because you cannot afford to go 2 weeks without a paycheck. Fear becomes the primary driver of your life choices. But when you complete Step 4 and stand at the summit of a fully funded 6-month emergency fund, the dynamic completely flips. You gain what top performers call option value. You gain the power to say no. You gain the ability to walk away from bad situations, negotiate aggressively for the salary you actually deserve, take calculated risks to pivot into a new career path, launch the business enterprise you've been dreaming about for years, or take extended time off to care for a family member or focus on your health without asking anyone for permission. An emergency fund doesn't just fix your finances, it buys back your time, restores your autonomy, removes chronic anxiety from your daily existence, and gives you the absolute freedom to build a life on your own terms. Start with Step 1 today. Build that $1,000 buffer, step onto the staircase, and begin climbing your way to complete financial security. See you in the next one.